Years of research and the accumulated experiences of Protaper users the world over have gone into the development of Protaper Next. Here's a closer look at the unique offset rectangular cross-section. Notice the mass of the file is offset from the center of rotation. This feature serves to limit the engagement between the file and dentin. Over the active portion of the file, there is limited contact at any given cross-section as only 2 cutting points are engaged. As we pull away from the file, something extraordinary begins to reveal itself. Here you can see another aspect of the unique design of the Protaper Next instruments. Next provides an asymmetrical rotary motion. Follow the red sine wave to see where the file is contacting the canal walls and, just as importantly, where the file is not contacting the canal walls. Take a look at the instrument's offset design in a simulated canal. Notice the available space for collecting and augering debris out of the canal. Compared to a fixed tapered file with a centered mass of rotation, the variably tapered and offset design of Protaper Next minimizes the risk for taper lock and broken instruments. Perhaps the most important procedure in endodontics today is to find, negotiate, and secure canals to their full working length. Fortuitously, manually secured canals can be safely and efficiently enlarged with dedicated mechanical glide path files. The Protaper Next family of instruments is comprised of 5 files. They are designed to work in sequence where each file progressively enlarges the canal towards the final desired shape. This is Protaper Next. This is Dr. Cliff Ruddle. I would like to show you how to use the Protaper Next instruments clinically. As with any endodontic procedure, it all starts with an accurate diagnosis. Diagnostics is comprised of gathering the clinical findings, performing vital pulp tests, and of course, attaining 2 or more well-angulated films. When we look at this specific radiograph, notice the orientation of the prosthesis to the underlying roots. Notice that the canals appear to be long, narrow, and quite curved. Let's get started. As we might expect from the preoperative film, access could be difficult through this prosthesis, and so in this instance, we elected to go ahead and remove the bridge. I want to emphasize the importance of straight-line access to each orifice. Certainly, the internal walls of any access cavity should be flared, flattened, and finished. A loose tin file confirms there is sufficient working width to passively accommodate the end of the Protaper SX file. Shaper X is used in a brushing motion on the outstroke to remove triangles of dentin, relocate canals away from external root concavities, and to pre-flare the orifice. Here I am placing a viscous chelator such as Glide. Let's talk just a little bit about glide path management. It's really important to secure canals and have a smooth, reproducible glide path before we ever entertain shaping canals with rotary files. In this instance, if the canals are longer, more narrow, and curved or recurved, we might need to drop to an 08 file to reach length. Once this instrument has achieved length, the canal is still pretty small in diameter, so it's oftentimes wise to transition from the 08 to the size 10 file. When the 10 file is loose and can easily travel over the apical 1/3 of the canal, it's time to take a working film or, alternatively, use an apex locator. Once we've established working length, it's important to verify patency. Patency means that the instrument is deliberately, minutely, and repeatedly inserted gently through the foramen until the instrument is completely loose. Once the instrument is loose and we have confirmed working length and patency, we need to verify the glide path. The glide path is verified when a tin file can slip and slide easily and reproducibly over the apical 1/3 of the canal. Now expand the glide path using a 15-hand file or an equivalently sized dedicated mechanical glide path file. Once we have a confirmed, reproducible glide path, we can commence shaping using the Protaper Next X1 file. Notice the swaggering, mechanical wave of motion along the active portion of the file. Notice that I'm brushing to make more contact between the instrument and the dentinal walls. Oftentimes when a file bogs down, meaning it doesn't want to run or travel apically, it's important to recognize there has been the production of considerable mud. So irrigate, recapitulate with a tin file, and then re-irrigate to liberate this debris. In one or more passes, continue with the X1 file using this brushing motion. This specific action allows the file to work into the eccentricities off the rounder parts of canals. Brushing allows us to create lateral space, which promotes the instrument's inward movement. As with any mechanical shaping file, once we've achieved length, remove the instrument. Now irrigate to kick out gross debris. Then use the tin file to break up residual debris and move this into solution. Then re-irrigate to liberate this debris. We can now continue with the Protaper Next X2 file. Working with a well-trained dental assistant benefits the economy of time. From the lateral view, you can readily see I'm emphasizing brushing. Brushing gives us more centered final preparations, maximizes remaining dentin on the furcation side, and ensures that we're making more contact with dentin as compared to utilizing a pecking or pumping motion. Let's take a quick look at one of the unique design features of the Protaper Next instruments. Notice in this cross-section only 2 points are contacting dentin at one time. The extra space allows for efficient augering of debris coronally while improving cutting efficiency. The finishing criteria for Protaper Next starts after removing a Protaper Next file. Specifically, after removing the X2 file, gauge the foramen with a Naitai 2502 hand file. If the 2502 is snug at length, you're done. Alternatively, like in this distal canal, if the 2502 is loose at length, then proceed to the X3 file. The Protaper Next sequence is always the same regardless of the length, diameter, or curvature of any given canal. Following the use of the X1 and X2 files, here we can see the X3 in action. And again, in one or more passes, using a brushing motion, we can allow this instrument to progressively float towards length. Again, when length is achieved, we would irrigate, recapitulate, and re-irrigate, and then gauge with a Naitai 3002 hand file to assure that we've met our preparation goals. Well-shaped canals allow a tin file to easily move through multiplanar curvatures. Well, it's important to recall that files shape canals, but irrigants clean root canal systems. So in preparation for three-dimensional disinfection, we can use our preferred final rinse solution in conjunction with the endoactivator. The endoactivator serves to exchange solution into the uninstrumentable portions of the root canal space. Here I am using a size verifier that matches the last Protaper Next file that was carried to length. Mix the sealer of your choice and insert it into the canal orifices. Now we can use a Gutta-core obturator. Coming out of the oven, there is sufficient thermoplasticity to easily carry a wave of material to length. Once this obturator has been carried to length, rock the handle gently, back and forth, to separate the coronal aspect from the radicular part. Flush out the tooth in preparation for provisionalization. I hope you've enjoyed watching this endodontic procedure. We've covered all the steps that comprise start-to-finish endodontics, focusing on shaping canals. To appreciate the postoperative result, let's review the preoperative film. Again, notice the bridge and the orientation of the underlying roots. Appreciate the canals are long, narrow, and highly curved. When we look at the post-op film, it reminds me of the old expression, the thrill of the fill. Notice in this particular instance, we've provisionalized the bridge, we have smooth flowing shapes, and we've filled multiple portals of exit. Protaper Next sets the standard for safety, efficiency, and simplicity.